In the world of politics, where power and morality often collide, few thinkers have left a mark as lasting and as controversial as Niccolò Machiavelli. His name is synonymous with ruthless pragmatism, but is he truly the advocate for tyranny many believe him to be? Or is Machiavelli simply a realist who understood the harsh truths of leadership and statecraft better than anyone else? As he famously said in The Prince, "The ends justify the means." But what does that really mean for those in power, and for the rest of us who live under it? Should rulers act with moral conviction, or is it enough for them to be effective, no matter the cost? Machiavelli doesn't give easy answers, but his insights into the nature of power are as relevant today as they were in Renaissance Italy. Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. This thought-provoking quote captures the complexity of leadership and deception, concepts that Machiavelli explored in depth. In this video, we'll dive into his ideas about power, ethics, and pragmatism, ideas that continue to challenge our perceptions of politics and leadership. Niccolò Machiavelli, a Renaissance-era diplomat and philosopher, is often seen as the father of modern political science due to his candid and pragmatic approach to political power. His works, most notably The Prince, 1513, have sparked debate for centuries due to their controversial stance on morality and ethics in leadership. Machiavelli's political philosophy emphasizes Realpolitik, a form of political pragmatism that prioritizes the effective use of power over idealistic considerations of virtue or ethics. In understanding his views on power, leadership, and morality, it is crucial to explore the core principles of his philosophy, the ethical implications of his ideas, and their relevance in both historical and contemporary political discourse. At the heart of Machiavelli's political thought is a stark realism about human nature. In The Prince, Machiavelli argues that the actions of rulers should not be judged by traditional ethical norms, but rather by their effectiveness in achieving and maintaining power. His famous assertion that the ends justify the means encapsulates his pragmatic approach to politics, suggesting that rulers must be prepared to act morally if it serves their political objectives. For Machiavelli, the primary goal of any ruler is to secure and maintain their power, and this often involves actions that may be considered ruthless, deceitful, or even cruel. Machiavelli's view of human nature is cynical, influenced by the turbulent political environment of Renaissance Italy, where shifting alliances, invasions, and power struggles were commonplace. He contended that humans are driven by self-interest, and thus, a ruler must not expect loyalty or goodwill from subjects, but rather must create an environment where loyalty is either compelled or earned through calculated measures. In this context, morality is secondary to the strategic demands of governance. A ruler who is overly concerned with being virtuous, according to Machiavelli, risks being outmaneuvered by more pragmatic competitors. Machiavelli introduces the concept of virtue in his writings, which differs from traditional virtue as understood by philosophers like Aristotle or Plato. Virtue refers not to moral goodness, but to the qualities a ruler must possess to effectively navigate the world of politics: courage, intelligence, decisiveness, and adaptability. A ruler's virtue enables them to shape their destiny, manipulating circumstances and seizing opportunities in ways that may defy conventional morality but are necessary for success. However, Machiavelli also acknowledges that rulers must balance their virtue with an understanding of fortuna, the unpredictable nature of fate. While a ruler's skill and cunning can control some aspects of their fortune, much depends on luck, and a wise leader must be flexible enough to adapt to changing circumstances. This recognition of fate and chance leads to a more complex view of ethics in Machiavelli's work. While he suggests that immoral actions may sometimes be justified, he does not advocate for a complete abandonment of ethics. Rather, he advocates for the pragmatic use of ethical flexibility based on context. Machiavelli's ideas in The Prince have had a profound impact on the way power and leadership are perceived in modern political thought. His emphasis on pragmatism and the ethical ambiguity of power challenges the idealist visions of earlier political theorists. Machiavelli's advice to rulers, whether in matters of war, diplomacy, or statecraft, is based not on moral considerations but on the harsh realities of political life. His works encourage rulers to use whatever means necessary, including manipulation, deception, and force, to secure and maintain their power. The ethics of power Machiavelli proposes have often been criticized as cynical and morally bankrupt. Critics argue that his focus on the utility of power undermines the very foundations of ethical governance and promotes tyranny. However, defenders of Machiavelli contend that his pragmatism is a reflection of the real world, where idealism often clashes with the complex realities of governance. According to Machiavelli, the ruler's primary responsibility is to safeguard the stability of the state and protect it from internal and external threats, even if this requires actions that contradict traditional moral values. Machiavelli's political philosophy continues to resonate in contemporary discussions on leadership and governance. In the age of globalization, political leaders must navigate complex, often unpredictable challenges, making Machiavelli's emphasis on adaptability and Realpolitik more relevant than ever. The idea that leaders may need to prioritize practical outcomes over moral ideals is evident in the actions of political leaders worldwide, from strategic alliances to military interventions, where the pursuit of power often involves ethical compromises. Yet, Machiavelli's teachings also offer valuable lessons for citizens and political observers. His work invites us to question the ethical conduct of our leaders and examine the intersection between power, morality, and responsibility. Machiavelli challenges us to confront uncomfortable truths about how power is wielded and to recognize that the political realm, in its essence, may not always conform to our ethical ideals. Niccolò Machiavelli remains one of the most provocative figures in the history of political thought. His works, especially The Prince, present a vision of political power that is unapologetically pragmatic, emphasizing the importance of effectiveness over moral virtue. While his ideas may seem cold and ruthless, they offer a clear-eyed understanding of the complexities of leadership and the ethical dilemmas faced by those in power. In an ever-changing world, Machiavelli's teachings remind us that the pursuit of power and the exercise of authority often demand tough decisions that challenge conventional notions of right and wrong. Whether one agrees or disagrees with his conclusions, Machiavelli's legacy endures as a powerful exploration of the ethics of power and the pragmatism necessary for successful governance. If you're fascinated by the world of political philosophy and want more insights like this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Stay tuned for more.